Life According to X here. I'm going to be doing my first interview with Brutal Swordsman, who is my fiance. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Recording.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to answer them as honestly as possible. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So to you, I'm going to ask, do you have a mental illness?
No.
Okay. What would you say is your mental health status?
I'd say it's pretty good. I had some ups and downs, but for the past 10 years, it's been pretty good.
Okay. How does mental health or illness affect you?
How does it affect me? I don't exactly feel affected by it. My fiance suffers from it, but the best thing I can do is simply help her out.
Do you have a friend, family member, coworker, etc. with a mental illness?
Well, that would be my fiance, of course.
Okay. What types of mental illnesses do you know about?
I know about bipolarism, depression, the common ones. There's ADHD, I do believe it's a mental disorder. I know there's quite a few out there, but the rest I'm not quite similar with. I'm not quite familiar with.
Okay. What is depression to you?
Depression, in my opinion, is basically a it could stem from many different things, from upbringing, from traumatic events, as well and also chemical imbalance in the brain. And I think in certain situations it can be overcome, depending on the situation, of course.
Okay. What is anxiety to you?
Anxiety, in my opinion, is when someone gets really nervous, when someone panics for the smallest reasons. Kind of like how some people might get angry for the smallest reasons as well. It could be a very like I'd say a problem as small as an anthill that could be blown into Mount Everest.
Okay. What is social anxiety to you?
Social anxiety.
Yes.
I'm guessing it would be about the same thing as regular anxiety, except when it comes to being around people.
Like in social situations?
Yes. Well.
Okay. What is agoraphobia to you?
Basically, a fear of the outside.
Okay. What is ADD to you? Which is attention deficit disorder.
That's a tough one. I don't believe ADD or ADHD to be a mental illness, but basically just how a person is, like a personality quirk. So it's only normal that some people can concentrate better than others. Some people can focus on things better than others, and yeah, it's more of a personality trait than an actual mental mental illness, in my opinion. These cases apparently have been gone undiagnosed for many, many years before recently, and some of these people have had normal lives without basically getting any treatment or anything. So I just think it's weird that people are being treated for this right now when they weren't before. I mean, they had to be around for a long, long time.
What is PTSD to you, which is post-traumatic stress disorder?
Yeah. Basically, when I'm thinking post-traumatic stress disorder, I'm thinking just like in the movie Wolverine, where he basically wakes up with his claws out in the middle of the night. Pretty much like night terrors. I know some people experience it differently, but it's basically a how do I put this? It's basically a fear or an anxiety that develops after experiencing a traumatic event.
Okay. A follow-up question to that is, do you believe that only, like, say, soldiers or someone who's been in war or something like that have PTSD? Or do you think that other traumatic experiences and whatnot can trigger PTSD?
Well, I'm pretty sure anything traumatic to a person would trigger PTSD. So I just think that some people might take it too far. I mean, you hear of men going to war experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder after seeing someone getting killed in front of them. Or just basically seeing all the violence in front of them. Some people might suffer PTSD from simply a misunderstanding.
Like what type of misunderstanding?
A misunderstanding?
Yeah, like what type? Like an example.
Example. Well, maybe misunderstanding is not exactly the best choice of words, but I'd say something that's not as traumatic. Let's say someone comes from behind and just goes boo.
Okay.
This,
Would you say like a traumatic experience such as rape would trigger PTSD?
I think so.
Yeah.
Depending on how violent the act is, of course.
Okay. Do you think brain injuries / trauma are considered mental illness?
Brain injuries?
Yes.
I'm not too certain how to answer that one, because some people do experience trauma to the brain without suffering anything at all. While some people they might lose their memory, like that, like from 51st States and stuff like that. There, that's just one example. Sometimes damage to the brain can be caused by childbirth. I mean, we know a little girl that only has half a brain, right? So, but she seems perfectly fine. She doesn't seem to have any problems whatsoever. So it all depends on the situation.
Okay. How is it for you living with someone who has mental illness?
It's no trouble at all. Sometimes it could add stress to the relationship a little bit. So there's been a few conversations between, well, my fiance and I, where I do tell her she needs to face her fears when it comes to her agoraphobia, and she's extremely stubborn not to face them. In my opinion, that's the only way to actually overcome a fear, is to actually face a fear. But yeah, I guess it'll just depend on whenever she's ready. When it comes to if she wants clothes, she has to count on me to pick that up. But of course, I can't try it on. Traveling back and forth to return some clothes when to basically exchange some clothes can be a chore at times as well, especially if you have a busy lifestyle. Yeah, sometimes it would be a lot easier if she could actually go to the mall and pick out their clothes herself.
Okay. If you could trade places with them to help better understand their illness, would you?
If I could trade places with them?
Yes.
If I trade places with my fiance, she'd probably be worried what I'd do.
In what ways?
Oh, I'd be out there and I'd be trying on the clothes. I'd be going to the mall, trying on some clothes and bringing it back home and doing shopping and everything. Basically, make her face her own fears. That's
Okay. Let's reword that question.
Okay.
Trade places only in mind.
In mind?
Not as in body form, as in like mental. Like you would swap brains, basically.
I would still face those fears. I personally am afraid of heights, and I sometimes end up with jobs where I have to climb a fairly tall ladder. I even worked at a carpet store where I had to do that every single day. Every time I went up that ladder, I was facing up to that fear. It's you got to do it. It's either do or don't, and I don't like the don't option.
If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can also visit me on my Facebook page and Instagram.